EdCats. This is Laura Teitjen. I just want to spend a few moments with you talking about how you're going to motivate your students. I'm excited to visit with you. I know you're having a great experience so far this semester, but let's talk about what are you going to do with a difficult student and what are you going to do to motivate your students each and every day. Well, as we all know, teaching is about building relationships with your students, of course, but allowing them opportunities to build relationships with each other. You need to build relationships with the students' parents and colleagues and administrators. So what are some things we need to do to remember how to build relationships? Well, you should know, if you've taken my class, that one of the biggest things that we do in that class is we learn one another's names. Now, this may sound very simple, but your name is the sweetest sound to your ears. And I hear people all the time, they will say, I'm just not good with names. If I am your student, I don't care that you're not good with names. I just know that you don't know mine. So again, it's critically important that you learn their names. What I do in my classes is I tell my class the first day, I have 2 weeks to learn all of your names and know something about you, or you can make me do something silly. Jumping jacks, push-ups, something like that. This sends a commitment to the students that I'm actually invested to know their names and know their nicknames, of course, within reason. Also, I would suggest that you take the time to have individual meetings and maybe do a personal profile for each of your students. This is another way for you to get insight into who this student is, and it's showing again that you're investing in that student. You can make this work, K through 12. You can set it up in your classroom where you have individual meetings while your students are in centers or they're doing projects. You can do it before class. You can do it after class. You can do it during planning periods. You can do it over the lunch hour. This is something you have to commit to, but trust me, it is totally worth it. Think about it. You can teach to a classroom of strangers, or you can teach to a classroom of students that you know. And trust me, the difference is night and day, not only for you as a teacher, but definitely for your students. Invest this time to know about your students. Another thing to really motivate is to set high expectations for your students and set high expectations for yourself. Along with this, you build a learning community that helps set expectations, again, for yourself and for your students. You want to provide the opportunities for students to succeed, so of course you're going to support them, but in everything you do, you are verbalizing what you expect them to do. In my many years of teaching, I have found that students often meet the expectations you set of them. They know if you don't think they can succeed. So you have to constantly be using the language, using the verbiage, using the way that you set up your classroom and your assignments to show them that they can succeed. One of the things is to be aware of not to just praise the product. You should, just as we learned in Carol Dweck's book, that we need to definitely have a growth, not a fixed mindset. And we help our students experience this. Do we praise the process? Do we say things like, not yet, rather than you failed? This all tells that student that you believe in them. So you need to do this each and every day, and it motivates the students. Of course, building a learning community, if you've had me in a classroom, you know that that is something that we really emphasize. Just to say you're going to build a learning community and not invest the time in it, you're not going to reap the benefits. So yes, you have to be committed. You have to do things on a daily basis to build that learning community so that you are supporting one another, you're holding one another accountable, you are setting high expectations for one another. Take the time to build that learning community. Something else that you need to be aware of in terms of motivating your students is provide relevance to what it is you're doing and provide your students with some autonomy and flexibility to have choice in how your classroom is run, in assignments, in all that you do. Relevance, again, if you know the student's name, you've taken the time to invest and had individual meetings with them, you know something about them. You can relate the material, relate your class to them individually. I'll give you an example. I had a student, his name was John, and John was not very interested in anything that we were doing in class. I tried everything possible to really get him engaged. One of the things that helped me is I went back on his personal profile, and I, definitely found some things that he was interested in, a particular musical group that he was interested in. So I took the time to get online. I researched everything possible about this group, their lead singer, all of their songs, everything I possibly could. And the next class period, I found a way to weave this material into the course content, as well as having an individual side meeting with him, conversation with him during class. It was amazing. John was night and day. From that point on to the rest of the semester, he thought I was kind of a cool teacher. He bought into everything that we did, and just something that simple and that minute can make all the difference to a student, because they know that you're invested. They know that you're interested in who they are. Autonomy, I would really strongly suggest that you're in a situation where you provide many different ways for students to meet the objectives in your class. Provide them with options on how to do assignments. Provide them with options in how you're setting up your classroom and how you want it run. Once they buy in that it is their classroom, not just your classroom, it's their classroom, our learning community, then they are much more motivated to hold one another accountable. They're more motivated to get their work done. And what they achieve together is really quite remarkable. I want to back up just a little bit in terms, again, investing in your students. You right now, you're doing a dynamite job. I know you're out there, you've got engaging lessons, engaging pedagogy, you're working with those students hard, and you think you know your students in a classroom setting. I'm telling you, you don't. You do not know them until you take the time to meet with them individually. I've been surprised through the years where I thought I knew a student going halfway through the semester, and then something would happen. And if I hadn't had individual meetings with them, I would not have known how to react. I wouldn't really have known who that student was. So again, take the time to know your students, provide them with relevant material, pedagogy, give them autonomy and buy-in into their classroom. And then, as we talk a lot about in our classroom, we teach who we are. It doesn't matter what grade you teach. It doesn't matter what content you teach. You are daily teaching who you are. Do you know who you are as a teacher? Are you genuine and authentic in what you're sharing with your students? Again, sharing appropriately, but you need to show yourself in the classroom. They want to know who you are. They want to know who you are in terms of as a teacher, as someone who is their mentor, who is guiding them. So find ways that you can share about your life. Now, you don't want to be the teacher that shares too much, okay? You don't want to be the teacher that talks about their kids all the time, or talks about their spouse or boyfriend, girl. You don't want to be that teacher, but you want to share a part of who you are. It's okay if you say, you know what, I'm a little tired today. Or it's okay if you share, I'm a little bit under the weather. I know for me, I used to teach and also coach. And by the middle of the semester every year, I would have lost my voice. It's amazing how students will respond to the fact if you come and you say, and I would say in a whisper, I really don't have my voice today, so I need your help. Will you all listen really carefully? And they would be fantastic. Even the rowdiest class would respond because you were sharing a little bit of yourself, a little bit of your situation. On the flip side of that, you set the tone for your classroom. If your classroom, when you look out into those lovely eyes of those students, and they are glazed over, you need to look back at yourself, because there's something that you're not doing to motivate those students. Is your lesson engaging? Are you making it relevant? What could you do better to get them engaged? Don't blame it on the student. It's easy to do that, but you have to look back at yourself. So when we teach who we are, we talk about motivating our students. Who motivates you? How are you motivated each and every day? You have to find out what that is for yourself, because each of us are different. For me, I constantly think about, am I who my students need today to become their best? And it's great when you look at the faces of your students and you think about the impact that you're going to have on them. As we're talking about building relationships and motivation, think back to the class periods where you talked about the teachers that were influential to you. What do you remember about them? Do you remember what they taught you, or do you remember who they are? Do you remember the relationships that you developed? So you have to think about, what am I doing today to forge those relationships, to be a memorable teacher, to be someone that years from now, they will speak our name when they talk about a great teacher. So do what you need to do to motivate yourself. Be energetic. I know many of you are watching video of yourself on a regular basis, I hope, because that will help you, because oftentimes we send messages we have no idea we're sending. Do you look enthusiastic? Do you look motivated? Is your body language sending the message that I can't wait to teach you today? I can't wait to go over this content. I can't wait to learn right along with you. I'm curious right along with you. Those are all things that are going to motivate your students. Those are all things that are going to make you a memorable and impactful teacher. The last thing I want you to consider is you're going to have those students that no matter what you do, it's going to be tough to reach them. And you have to make a commitment to love the unlovable. Often those are the students that need you the most. Those are the students that you're going to have the greatest impact on. And I think you have to look at your students like a parent. A parent doesn't always like what a child does, but you love them through it. You love them unconditionally. And I want you to think about teaching unconditionally. So regardless of what the student does, they need to know you have their back. They need to know you're invested in them. They need to know you care about them and believe that they can achieve. And so as tough as it may sound, you have to love the unlovable and teach unconditionally. So EdCats, I know you're having a fantastic first semester. Know that we are here for you. We want to stay in contact with you. We know you're going to change lives and make a difference. And don't ever doubt that. So make a difference out there. Connect with your students. And again, best of luck. Nail it this semester. And we'll see you next semester. Take care.